What's next for you? You mentioned a project in television.
Well, next is I just directed a movie in Michigan called What's Wrong with Virginia. It's also something I wrote, so wrote and directed, and I hadn't done that before, not a big feature. Mostly I just directed television. So I'm really excited and proud of that. It comes out in the fall. And then, developing a new TV show with HBO and a feature script, which I think is sort of the opposite of Milk. It's my cautionary tale of a closet case on J. Edgar Hoover. So that's going into production. That's with Imagine right now.
Very nice. Do you have any advice for anyone who's interested in getting into script writing in either television or Hollywood?
Yeah, my biggest mistake for a long time was I was trying to write what I thought Hollywood wanted to make. So you look at Hollywood any given year, right? Like right now, if you write a vampire show, you're probably in good shape because they're interested in that, or whatever it is. But that comes and goes, and that sort of fashion changes. And I eventually just discovered, and it probably seems obvious to most people, that you're never going to do better than someone who really is passionate about and loves horror films. I'm never going to do better than that, than they could. And so I eventually just started to write things I was intensely passionate about, or I connected to personally. Like with Big Love, I grew up Mormon, so I was able to kind of exorcise those demons. Or with Milk, it just was the guy who I still think saved my life in a way. So something you're passionate enough about that when everyone tells you it sucks or to give up, that you don't. That you say, it might suck and I should give up, but I might give it another crack for another 2 years because I feel that strongly about it. And that'll get you through. It gives you a huge advantage.
Okay. Maybe I believe we have time for one more question from us, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. But as a movie fan, what are your 5 favorite films?
That is a really difficult question. And you even warned me it was coming. and I saw, well, I can tell you one, my top one, and it's is a movie that I was out here in San Antonio, and my mom finally got a video rental card. Mm-hmm. And I was in this, we weren't allowed to watch PG-13 movies. Like, it was that kind of home. And there was this movie with this title that I thought sounded rather explicit with this cute boy on it. And I ran home with it, and I put my TV up, and I put the VCR, and I popped it in the player, and it was Francois Truffaut's 400 Blows. And so it was not pornography. It was actually like, the movie that sort of set, the French New Wave. And it was about real people and a real family and a family struggling. And I was growing up in the time of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so it's like I hadn't seen anything like this. So. I think a movie like that is always my favorite. But I also like Star Wars, and I'm a sucker for anything Fellini or Cassavetes. I sort of like looking into the human experience. But every now and then I like to go to another planet and and fight stormtroopers. So.
All right. Well, I guess we'll open up for the first question.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Alicia Livingston. I'm a student here at Trinity. I'm a drama major and I'm an actor. And earlier you mentioned trying to carry out characters for years in reference to Big Love. And obviously Big Love is like a cast of amazing actors. And same thing with Sean Penn, an incredible actor in Milk. How much, I guess, collaboration goes on between you and the actors as far as character development, or if they have ideas online or different way to say things? Does that collaboration happen? What is that like? Could you talk about that?
Yeah. Well, it happens a lot in TV between the writer and the actors. I mean, you do things, you get to know them first of all, right? So you get to, and hopefully you fall in love with them and you think they're great. And you know who they are as people, and you can sort of tailor some things to that. To what their strengths are or what their interests are. But then you also have table reads, and it's usually midway through crafting the script. So you have table reads, and you can hear it out loud, and you can also hear what they have to say or what they think about it. So then some more tailoring goes on. And then it goes all the way through. When you're on set, there's changes still happening, and you want to, we all are dedicated to making it as good as we can make it. So, and their input's invaluable. It's them that have to, they have to bring those words to life. So there's definitely that collaboration. On Milk, I was there the whole time, head to toe. There wasn't a lot of work being done on the script. A lot of that had to do with the fact that there was a writer's strike on at the time. In the last couple of weeks, there were things I wanted to change. Because it takes on a different life when it hits the set, you know what I mean? It's like you never know how it's going to breathe, and you might actually have more, there might be more information there than you thought there would be just because of how Sean is doing it. It's like coming across. I don't need to write more jokes, he's just funny, or he's just lovable in that way. And so the only thing we added, thing we added is some more John Briggs debates between Sean and the guy playing John Briggs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kate Goldsberry. I'm the president of our Sexual Diversity Alliance, and I read an interview with you from the San Antonio Current by Greg Barrios, and he was really aggressive towards you, and he kind of attacked you for picking Harvey Milk as your subject and said that you could have picked someone else. And I was just curious if that happens to you a lot, this kind of aggressive nature of just people toward you.
No, I had never had that happen before. I mean, I've had people debate, and I love debate. I'd had people do that before, which is great. And that's sort of what it was like in that interview too, and it was fine for a good bit. I mean, a lot of it I think was just how he decided to edit it and his use of exclamation marks. I don't sort of have a lot of exclamation marks in the way I talk, but he liked to use them. But no, I mean, it's, I think it's a healthy debate. I think it's like, I would love for people to say, hey, you also needed to do this, and you also need to tell the story of that person, because I'm with you. I'm like, do it. I can't do it all. And we need other people out there telling those stories, because there's a lot of, folks whose stories haven't been heard. I mean, let's talk about the lesbian movement for a second. Castro Street was all the gay guys. There was a whole movement in San Francisco going on up on Valencia Street, this whole great lesbian women's rights movement. Who's going to tell that story? I mean, it's got as many great characters and leaders there as we're down on Castro. So, I invite that debate, and I think it pinpoints a problem, which is we need to popularize our history so that we have it, so we can learn from our history, and so that others get to know who we are.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm a student here as well. It's great to have you here. And in preparation for your landing upon Trinity, I watched The Times of Harvey Milk because I've heard that that was a big inspiration in your writing for Milk and everything. And I noticed that in Milk they talk a lot about how Harvey was kind of like a nutball in the sense that he was hard to work with in some cases and he would get worked up. And I noticed that, like what made you pick and choose like different aspects from Harvey's personality? Because obviously when writing a biography film, you have to you can't just take everything. You've got to pick and choose, and you've got to tell the story. What made you decide elements of Harvey specifically, not just the story, but what you wanted to express about Harvey Milk?
Right. I was sort of focusing on the guy I was getting to know through my interviews. Who knows who the real Harvey is? It's like you read different books and you see different documentaries, and they all have their ideas. So I threw all that out. I went right to the sources. So I went, Anne Cronenberg, Cleve Jones, Tom Amiano, some people who have since passed, and just tried to get to know him through them. Like his voice would start to come out. So that's what I put on the page. I sort of didn't rely upon the doc. Also, I love the doc, don't get me wrong. Rob Epstein, the director, helped so much that, we gave him a giant thank you at the end, helped so much with the film. But I was really interested in getting into the relationships that weren't in the doc. So like Cleve Jones is not in the doc, Scott Smith is not in the documentary, his last boyfriend was not in the movie. So it's like I wanted to explore that stuff, which meant sort of going away from that and then trying to add a bit more. So really it was just like the guy I met as he seeped through the voices of the people who actually worked with him and knew him.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're out of time for now. Thank you so much, and we wish you lots of luck on your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Good to meet you.
It was a great pleasure to have you.
Thanks.
Thanks.